today is Chad Rolfs. He is an age group triathlete from Shoreline, Washington, and he did his first triathlon back in 2017. And he loves the sport so much that he's decided to coach it as well and has been coaching for the last 2.5 years. Now, this guy is an absolute weapon in the water. Back in college, he was a Division I All-American swimmer and was recently inducted into the WIAA. Let me try and not hash this. Washington Interscholastic Aquatics Coaches Association Hall of Fame for events like the 50 free, 200 free, and 100 backstroke back in 1989, 1988, 1990. This guy did a 21:15 50 free back in the day, right? Weapon. After his swimming career ended, he moved on to coaching high school swimming for 9 seasons, but this swimmer can still run. He's fresh off the boat from 70.3 Washington and did an amazing sub 5-hour race. His swim was 19 minutes. 19 minutes! Bike was 2 hours 42 and his run was 1 hour 48. I think that's pretty good for a swimmer. Congratulations, Chad. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
How was Washington 70.3?
Oh, it was amazing. Yes, I'm very happy. This was my last triathlon of the season, and it was fantastic. I mean, it was the first time they held it in this venue. It's the run courses along the river. It's beautiful. You climb up to this this mountain where you're overlooking the whole valley. It's a beautiful course. The swim was downriver. So there was a little bit of a current. So, 19 is not my normal, 70.3 swim time. So I had a little bit of help.
That is a very fast swim. I was pretty stoked with my 32 minutes. What's a normal 70.3 swim time for you?
Like 27. Oh
my goodness. Yeah, see, I was channeling you out in the water there. I was like, Chad's like, you just got to swim faster. Just keep going. And I was having too much fun to swim fast. But how do you run that quick also? Most swimmers are not particularly good at running. You're just all over a pretty good athlete.
It has taken me a long time to develop my run, and my coach helped me out a lot with that. I think it was 2 seasons ago where it was like, okay, this is my weak spot. Let's work on this. And so we focused on that for like almost all of the off season. And then also like getting my nutrition right. Like that's a big piece of it. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Getting the nutrition right dialed in beforehand, the carb loading on the bike so that I can have a good run. So that has helped out a lot too.
And how did your nutrition go for 70.3 Washington?
It went great.
Yay!
It went fantastic.
No issues?
No, nothing on the race. Leading up to it though, the carb loading the 2 days before, I was so full. Like, oh my gosh, that's always a challenge, but it's like, I knew, okay, it's going to pay off. Like, I know I'm feel a little full, but I know this is going in the right place and it's going to give me the fuel to like smash it once I get on the race. And it did, it worked.
Yeah, amazing. We can always tweak your carb loading plan a little bit if you are feeling a little full. That's something we can talk about in Power Hour and just finesse it. It's always a work in progress, carbohydrate loading. You do it and you think it's going to be so easy and it's going to be so fun and you get to eat all these things, and then the reality of it is like, oh my God, this is actually way harder than I thought it would be.
Yep. Yeah, I was thinking like, well, maybe it's just because I'm older and my metabolism's slowing down, or maybe I didn't practice it enough, for, the training and the race rehearsals. But yeah, it all worked out.
And you had that energy to go on the run. Like, you obviously did a great run. Did you ever feel like you ran out of energy or were close to hitting the wall on the run, or you could have kept running through that finish line?
I could have kept running through it, but I didn't want to. I mean, I was done. Like another person that I, virtually train with and I've raced with before, he caught up to me right at mile 9, and then we ran together and kind of pace each other, and then just like, okay, last mile we're going to build every quarter mile. And he kind of like, he took off a little bit and I tried to stay with him, but I kept the gap the same, but it was like, I kind of emptied the tank on that last mile, but it was, yeah. I could have kept running, but yeah, I think not at that pace, but I could have kept running.
So good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so you're in a bit of an off season now. Good to hear. What's next on the cards for you then?
Little bit of off season. I am doing a half marathon in 2 weeks, and I'll focus more on strength, mobility, and probably focus a little more on running too in the off season. Yeah.
Yeah, good. One of the things that we've been working on is your run nutrition because you were struggling a little bit there. I'd love to know, we haven't talked yet, like how did your run nutrition go for your 70.3?
It was perfect. Like it was right on. We worked on some of the timing aspects of when to fuel and what to fuel, and that worked out perfectly.
Amazing. No issues. No cramping, no hitting the wall.
No cramping, no
no
hitting
gut
the
issues.
wall, no gut issues. Like,
Yes,
I got over
Chad.
yes, it was great. It was like I got over the finish line and I'm like, all right, where's that post-athlete food? I'm ready to get my recovery meal in. Let's go.
Yes. Oh, so good. I'm glad I've taught you a few things. And it's all kind of come like you've been able to piece it all together and put it into practice and put that into a great race performance, which makes me so happy because I always get a bit stressed when athletes do longer course racing and I'm like, is it going to be okay? Is everything going to work? And it's just huge relief to hear that you had a great race and no issues and you're ready to sign up for next year.
Yeah, for sure. And that's definitely the heart of a coach. Like when anybody that you coach, comes up to a race, and I had a few of my athletes in this race. Yeah, it's always like, oh, how are they going to do? Is it like, is everything going to work out? You know?
Yeah, I keep refreshing the trackers for somebody that's doing, say, their first full distance event. And, if the tracker slows down or it breaks and looks like they stop and I'm like, oh my God, no, what's happened? It's all my fault. But yeah, so stoked to hear you had a great event at 70.3 Washington. So you
Thank you.
are just wrapping up your Triathlon Nutrition Academy program with us. You're right at the end of phase 3. I can see one of our masterclasses on your screen behind you at this time of recording, which is one of our... Oh, it's gone to screensaver. Must have heard us talking about it. But you have finished 9 months almost of nutrition education around triathlon. What made you want to come and join the program and educate yourself for somebody that has been doing sport for a very long time?
Well, yeah, doing sport, nutrition for just short swimming events, like 50 free, 100 free, 200 free is different from,
Very.
a full distance Ironman. And so
Yes.
how do you optimize fueling for something like that, for that long of an endurance event? And it is, if I'm serious about the longevity of doing the sport, there's, you got to master the training of those 3 disciplines. You got to master recovery. You got to master nutrition, and you got to master the transitions. So there's a handful of things you got to master, and I'm a learner at heart, and so I love to learn stuff and keep learning and like build on what I already know and try to discover things that I don't know from people that do know. So,
Yes.
yeah.
The more I learn, though, the more I realize I don't know.
Yep. Yep. And so it's a journey, but it's fun.
It is fun. Learning about nutrition is fun. Well, I think it's fun. So when you were a college swimmer or any time through all of the crazy sports that you've done, have you ever worked on your nutrition with anyone or did you get to see a sports dietitian back in college days?
I didn't. And it makes me think back and question, like, did I have access to one and I just didn't take advantage of it because I was,
Young?
college kid, just, stupid and crazy and just, letting her rip. Um,
It's quite
so
of a
no,
day.
yes. There it is. Um, but no, I've never kind of officially worked with any sports dietitian, nutritionist, prior to working with you on the Nutrition Academy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And what were you struggling with before that made you go, all right, I'm going to do this. I don't actually need to invest some time and money into my nutrition education. What were the challenges that you were facing before?
I think some of them were the things that I didn't know that I didn't know, like the carb loading. I knew a little bit about recovery but I mean not to the extent that I do now. Um, uh, like we talked about the fueling and hydration on the run, like that was, getting through a race feeling good at the end. I think those were some catalysts to me wanting to do this. And also one of my athletes that I coach has gone through it, and so he really spoke highly of it and encouraged me. Um, Also, my coach encouraged me also to, you know, to go into areas where he wasn't, a particular expert. He's got his lane,
Mm.
and so the other lanes, if he can encourage me to, you know, seek out information and coaching in those areas too, then all the better for me.
It's a sign of a really good coach, I think, a coach that knows that their strengths are in coaching and there are other experts in other areas that have their strengths in, say, like nutrition or strength training. And I really value working with coaches that know their area of expertise and their limitations and are happy to refer on. They, to me, are honestly the best coaches, because the coaches that think that they can know about nutrition and go, yep, you don't need anyone else, you just need me, really limits the athlete, in my opinion.
No, yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, the longer I'm in the sport, the more I realize how I need to build not just one coach, but like build a team around myself of
Yeah,
coaches that are like experts in their field, and then you know, I'll get the best outcome possible. And who doesn't want that?
right? That is how the elites work. They have their strength and conditioning coach, they have their triathlon coach, they have the access to their sports dietitian, they have physio, they have all the things, and each person does each of their areas of expertise. So you have to treat yourself a little bit like an elite athlete, but also work full time, because
Yes,
that's how we
yes,
work as age groupers.
there it is.
That's awesome. And so those things that you were struggling with, like understanding how to do carbohydrate loading. I don't know any triathlete that knows how to carbohydrate load properly, to be honest, until they've had some education. You can pull numbers off the internet, but it is still not particularly a good carbohydrate loading plan. Same as recovery. Like, we think we know how to do recovery, but a lot of the time athletes don't know how to do recovery properly, because it is very specific to you and the situation and what you've got going on. So now that you've gone through all of that information and we've been talking each week in Power Hour and really trying to fine tune and finesse what you're up to, what are the couple of the biggest things that you've taken away over the last month that you've been working on, that you've been able to put into place straight away and go, yep, this is for me, this is working, and I'm feeling really good about it?
Well, we talked about the hydration and the fueling on the run. Definitely have put that into play. I think really fine tuning everything. Like I feel like, and I think you said it also before. I'm just at the beginning, right? It's like I had the vision of like a dartboard. Like when I first started triathlon, like I was off the board, right? like it was a big miss. I was not even no points, right? And then
Did you think you were somewhere on the board though, and it wasn't until you got in that you're like, oh shit, I'm way off?
yeah, it was after the race when I'm like in a pile after the finish line, it's like, oh, that was not good. Like something's way wrong here.
Oh, no.
And so the journey's been like, getting closer and closer into the bullseye, and I think we're getting right there. We're like the inner ring. We're not quite the bullseye yet, but we're really close. Like really close.
That's a great analogy. I love the not even on the board thing, because I think a lot of triathletes are like that. You're like, yeah, I think I've got this pretty good. Even people that listen to the podcast are like, thank you so much. You've helped me so much. I feel like my nutrition's really dialed in. And I'm like, it is not even close. Like what we go through on the podcast is surface level. It's like a big iceberg. It's the tip of the iceberg, and all of that huge big mass underneath is the detail that we go through in the Triathlon Nutrition Academy program. So perhaps a lot of athletes think they're on the board and are just way off the side. No good. Great analogy, Chad.
You're putting holes in your drywall right next to your board.
It's a good one.
Oh.
Okay,
swing and a miss.
So you've been working on run fueling, which is obviously paying dividends for you. The other thing that we've played with for you is probably what you're doing on the bike to set up that run. Anything that's changed for you over the program for what you're doing on the bike?
Yes. Yeah. So it's kind of timing, and then what I'm consuming when. Getting that timing right, getting the mixtures correct, and the secret sauce in there. So that's helped out a lot to help set up the run to make it better.
And what are you going to work on now? Like now that you're finished, what I find is we are only just getting started. Now that you've got a really good fundamental level of triathlon nutrition education, what do you want to work on now?
Now I think I want to fine tune. I want to practice. I want to get better at carb loading, which we can work on in Power Hour for the supercharged squad, which is, I don't know if you want to plug that real quick.
That Chad is talking about our Secret Squirrel alumni program. So once you're through the Triathlon Nutrition Academy, it's not see you later forever. We do have an alumni program if you want to stay and join us, where we kind of keep going. Like there is so much to learn about nutrition. And yes, the program is 3 phases, 9 months. There are 36 masterclasses inside. I still have so much more to teach you. We've got a masterclass on jet lag now, which I did recently, which is gold. There's information on perimenopause nutrition. There's some strength training experts. There's some swimming technique experts. There's more nutrition expert stuff from me. Like there is just so much. And there's new products coming on the market all the time that we review. There's so much changing. Sports nutrition is a very rapidly evolving space, and so it's a way to kind of stay connected and keep learning about nutrition. Plus, you keep access to me as well. We meet every week for Power Hour and do things like, for Chad, I'll look really closely at his carbohydrate loading plan and go, all right, what can we fiddle with to make it better? Let's optimize it. Let's tweak it. Let's dial it in so it's perfect. Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for the chance to plug my alumni program. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I love that because there's always new research coming out too, and I love that you're on top of that.
I try to be. It's hard, but I try to be.
There's a lot out there for sure. I think another area that I want to continue to work on and kind of dial in is just continue to build on kind of my sweat rate, like kind of filling out my spreadsheet a bit more, dialing in different temperatures and humidities and intensities to know, like, how much am I actually losing and how much do I need to replenish, and kind of be able to better dial that in going into a race, knowing like, okay, the temperature is going to be about this and the humidity is going to be like about that, and know, okay, I'm going to sweat more or I'm going to sweat less. And so really, dialing that in.
Yeah, that's a big one. And that's something that you'll be doing for a long time. Like that's a year's type journey rather than a, 1 day. And that's a common myth that people have no idea about, I think, with your sweat rate, is that you get this maybe sweat test data and that's one data point. That doesn't translate to all conditions, all different races, like different times of year, all those sorts of things. And so you need to understand your own sweaty journey and how to really pull those hydration levers for yourself depending on what you're up to. So that's a good one. I think everyone needs to keep working on that for a long period of time.
Yeah. Those are a couple things. I'm sure there's a ton more that I need to work on and, get closer to that bullseye, right?
Yeah.
I'm in the ring. I'm in the outer ring, but like almost right there.
The inner circle. You're in the inner circle.
Let's go.
Okay, so you've got a few things to work on, but I feel like, you are very close to getting things really dialed in for you. And it's, taken 9 months to get there. I wouldn't say it's a rapid journey for many people, but I'm really stoked for you that we're close. What sort of events have you got planned for 2025 and beyond? Is the end goal for you to get to Kona? Do you want to do Worlds? Do you want to end up doing Ultraman? What does Chad Rolfs' triathlon career look like in the future?
Yes, all of them.
All the things. Of course you do. All the
things. Do all the things. Yeah, I mean, Kona's definitely a bucket list thing. I would love to do Kona. I think definitely want to go to Worlds, 70.3 Worlds. Ultraman, maybe. We'll see. I mean, in the off season, I might look at doing some more trail runs and see if, like a 50K or 100K is doable. Might be fun. I love being in the outdoors, so we'll see.
You just want to do all the things. And
I do want to do all the things.
We haven't talked about it, but you've already done all the things also. Like you've done Taekwondo, you've climbed some mountain, like you just are an outdoorsy, active person. And now that your wife's doing triathlon, like there's kind of no excuses. Kids are in college, wife's doing triathlon. Like it's your time, man. It's time to shine.
That's right. As long as we can keep like funding it, we're good.
Yes. I know, it's so hard. It's expensive sport.
It is.
And so you're taking a sabbatical for work or something too. Is that in 2025?
It is, yeah.
How long have you got off?
6 weeks.
Oh, that's not very long. I thought you were going to say 6 months or something.
No. But
Americans like to work though.
6 weeks paid, and then I may take an extra week in there as well.
What are you going to do with that time?
Might do a family trip to New Zealand, go see Hobbiton and, go explore down there.
Nice. You're going to jump across to Australia while you're traveling that far?
Probably not.
Around Sunny Coast 70.3 time in September 2025?
That's a discussion I need to have with the wife still.
Funny.
So that could happen. It could happen as a relay. So we'll see. That could be really fun.
I think you should do the swim.
I would love to do the swim. Let's race. You have a whole year to train.
I haven't. I need to get back in the pool. I haven't really swum since the event. We had a family holiday and then I've been sick. So yeah, I need to get back in the pool so that I actually can, actually have a good performance out there.
You had a great, what did you swim, 32?
Yeah, 32 minutes, but...
Without any training?
I did some training, little bits of training.
Some? Like
no
how
wetsuit,
much training?
No wetsuit. I swam once a week, minimum. Sometimes I got in the water twice a week.
For how many months prior?
A couple.
Yeah, you didn't train, come on.
But just like you, I've swum my whole life, right? I've been swimming since probably before I could walk. And so swimming is not a challenge for me. It's technique that you've built from childhood. I find if you learn to swim as an adult, it's so much harder because the mechanics of swimming, I don't know, it just is so hard to figure out where your hands go. But like you don't think about where your hand goes in the water. It just does it.
I think a lot of it is the technique and knowing when to apply pressure and when to relax. So many adult onset swimmers don't know when and how to relax in the water. Everything's tense. And it's like you waste so much energy that way. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do a whole nother episode with you on swim training for triathlon. You have got so much wealth of experience swimming yourself, but then coaching swimming for how many years have you coached swimming? Like a decade, maybe more?
Yeah, around there. Yeah, well, I mean, if you throw in the high school swimming and triathlon coaching. Yeah, it's been over a decade, easy.
Yeah, a lot of untapped knowledge in that brain of yours, I think. There's a good podcast idea there in the works.
Nice. Yeah. Some hidden things in there that I got to remember and dig out. Kind of what you were talking about, like, why didn't you tell this before? About sighting.
About sighting. Yeah, I forgot I knew how to sight. And the Canadians were like, why are you holding out on us, Taryn? Why did you not tell us that before the race? I was like, sorry, dudes, I forgot I knew how to do this.
Yes.
So any advice, Chad, for somebody listening that maybe thinks their dart is on the bullseye or at least in the circles, but really it's probably on the drywall? Out on the gyprock, they're doing damage to their walls.
Oh. I mean, if you think you're on the board and, you're having a race where you're not able to finish the run in, feeling great or feeling strong, you're probably not on the board.
Boom.
So, boom.
How's that for honesty?
No, but I mean, if you're having any, like, if you think you're really on the board and you're having any sort of issues consistently during your races, like, you're probably farther off than you think. And it could be even not even race day nutrition. It could be everything leading up to it. I mean, that's something that Taryn covers in the academy, just kind of baseline. What's your everyday nutrition? Like, what do your plates look like? What is your, are you feeling, when you have a really long, hard training session, how are you feeling that day versus a recovery easy day? Like, it matters. And so that can have a huge impact on your results and on race day, just your base level nutrition and, during your training.
Yeah, it's a huge part of it. It's why we have our first phase. It's 8 weeks long. We cover all of the day-to-day nutrition stuff. And a lot of athletes want to skip that. They want to go straight to the sprinkles, the 1%ers, right? Most triathletes build a pyramid from the tip upwards.
Yes.
They start with all the supplements and I'm going to have 120 grams of carbs an hour because that's going to make me a better athlete on the day. But really, it's the small daily habits compounded over time that have the biggest impact on your performance, because what you do every day and what you put in your mouth every single day matters for the training that you're doing. That all leads to race day. Your race day is not about that day. It's about months and months in preparation for that.
And not just nutrition, your training too. Like, all of that. It's the consistency in the. That applies to the training as well. So it's definitely.
Yeah. So what you're telling me is I need to get in the water now for next year.
That's right.
Well, we are coming into summer here, so it's beautiful temperatures at the moment. It's much easier to swim. Having to swim through winter was pretty rough because we have outdoor pools here. We don't really have indoor pools, so you get in the water and it maybe is 8 degrees outside and you've got to go and do a swim, so it's much harder.
I love that. The pool I swim at is an outdoor pool, and there were times last season when we got snow where there's like snow on the deck, and there's all the steam coming off the pool, and it's so fun. I love those days, even though it sucks. Get out, like, once you get in the pool and get going, it's great, but like, it's cold.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that. I'm a bit of a wuss. I'm a Queenslander. We don't like cold because it doesn't really get cold here, so it was quite difficult to swim through the winter months. But I think I'll be able to keep on top of it over the summer months.
You can do it. I have faith.
Thanks, mate. You were like my swim coach. Actually, you more so freaked me out. You and Becky freaked me out because you were like, Becky was like, Taryn, you need to do 3 swims a week, and 1 needs to be endurance, and 1 needs to be strength, and the other 1 needs to be something else. And I'm like, Becky, mate, I'm lucky to get in the water once a week. Don't freak me out. She's like, just aim for 40 minutes, Taryn. I'm like, okay, that sounds fine. I'd be stoked with that. Anyway, my cyclist was in the porta potty, because she thought, I've got heaps of time. And I'm like, dude, grab my timing chip. Let's go. Get out of here. She's like, give me a hug. I was like, no, go. Funny. It was good times. We are doing Sunny Coast 70.3 2025 though for TNA. The athletes that came across just had the best time. Steve came all the way from Canada. Kelly came all the way from the US, and they've already booked the ACOM for next year. So it is happening. So if you can chat to the wife, chat to the financial controller, and see if you can come across. It was an epic time, and yeah, looking forward to seeing all those guys, plus maybe some more TNA athletes next time when we do it again.
It sounded amazing. Yeah, I'd love to come, and Australia's been on my bucket list for a long time.
All right, Sunny Coast 70.3 it is. You heard it here first, people. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Chad. I have loved talking to you straight off the bat from your epic race performance at 70.3 Washington. It's not often that I got to talk to people this close to a race, and I feel like the energy and the buzz and the vibe of like a really good race like just emanating off you at the moment. So I'm so stoked to hear that. And
Yes.
looking forward to seeing, after a bit of an off season, where you go for 2025 and beyond. And if you want to do Ultraman, I'm here for it.
Awesome. Yeah, this has been awesome, and thank you for all your help.
Oh, you're welcome. We're only just scratching the surface.
I know. Let's keep going.
Let's keep going. So if you are interested in joining us in the Triathlon Nutrition Academy program, doors are actually open at the moment. They've been open since Sunny Coast Race Weekend, and our next cohort starts on the 5th of October. So you've got a little bit of time left to deliberate, decide, maybe chat to the financial controller or don't. What's that saying? Just do it and ask for forgiveness.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Don't ask permission, ask for forgiveness. Is
That's
that what
the
it is?
one. That's the one. So go and check it out, dietitianapproved.com/academy if you are looking at joining us. We won't open doors again until January 2025. Thank you so much, Chad, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.